It's break time. It's your co-host, Rissy, right?
Hey.
And yours truly, Kaninja. So today, Rissy, what are your thoughts on the Texas abortion law? I'm just going to go right into it because this is freaking crazy.
Yeah, like I heard, you know what? I still think it's crazy how it's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's other things to be worried about on the list of world humanitarianism, but okay, I'm not 100% because I haven't been researching like I usually do. Okay. But I heard how like if like Uber, like how it was like something about Uber where even if you drove a chick to get an abortion, you somehow get caught up in the bullshit too. Like,
yes, exactly. So basically, it is if you are caught trying to get an abortion, if you are a doctor who is caught administering their abortion, if you are an Uber driver or someone else that is driving getting caught, you can actually be a part of that fine or that suing because you can sue them for that.
Damn.
So yeah, so you can sue for the fine. You can sue them for that $10,000, and now also like anyone can sue if they find out or even if they get a hearing, like a inclination that this person is going to get an abortion or this doctor is going to administer it.
But if you work at a clinic, even in like, yeah, like,
and that's the thing, like that's their way of shutting down these clinics is, okay, well, we can't ban abortion, but we can ban abortion in a different way, in a roundabout way, to discourage any doctors that are at those clinics from administering those abortions.
That's kind of messed up.
Yeah, exactly. And then I heard that Florida is trying to do the same thing.
Florida, really?
Yeah.
Like,
are you surprised?
Okay, when you look at the red and blue map, no. No. The fancy map that I only look at once every 4 years. That one, no, I'm not surprised. But I guess it's like, why, what is the importance? What is the importance of it? Because a lot of things, if you, and it affects all income, because like, unfortunately, you know, sometimes when you get, conceive a child, there's so many different scenarios, so many different circumstances that I cannot begin to explain on this podcast, where it's just not good. It's just a no. It's just a no.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is it even a conversation?
Exactly. I don't know. So like we can make all these assumptions that it's because they just want to control women's bodies, or because of religious situations, because the pro-life versus pro-choice and all of this stuff. But I from what I'm hearing from a lot of different people, it really boils down to controlling women's bodies. Because just think about this scenario. Let's say if you get raped, right? And you are pregnant. No, let's make it even worse. You get raped by a relative and now you're pregnant. And like you're 13 years old, let's just say. And you want to get an abortion. That rapist can sue you for $10,000. So that rapist can get $10,000 for suing you for getting an abortion after he raped you.
Yeah, I don't like men.
You don't like men?
Well, because it's just like, you're arguing for what? Yeah. Like, what are we arguing for? Because, and I do feel like it's a control. Because, let me tell you, unfortunately, I mean, children without the BS are a beautiful thing. I don't care. I know people say they're a blessing regardless. No. I'm sorry. Certain circumstances, they're everything and then stuff. But oh my goodness, when this is happening, when you like let's say you're trying to get away, gotta get out of a situation. It's easier to do it with equal to zero. Now you can't get equal to zero sometimes. Sometimes you have to have. But if you over here in an abusive situation and then you're pregnant again,
right?
it makes it so much harder for you.
Right. And that child. Especially if you're
and that child, because now you're whatever all that negative behavior that they're inflicting on you, your little one sees, it gets a cycle. So you have now you're raising you're exposing to something where there's a possibility 50-50 where they become abusive in some shape or form, emotionally, verbally, or physically.
Yeah, exactly. And now, so there's all these debates now between pro-life and pro-choice. And I've had, of course, you know how I am. I've had a lot of debates.
Oh, you know how you are, Kaninja.
So I've had a lot of debates between that because Break Room Buddies, I'm pro-choice. And so, but what does that mean? I mean pro-choice as the societal definition, not the actual definition of pro-choice. So this is something that I actually had to look up, is that the actual definition of pro-choice is basically saying, yes, you believe in abortions. And on paper, on the surface, yes, I believe in abortions, but am I pro-abortion? No. I'm not like, yes, kill all the babies. No, I'm not like that.
No, there's never a good time for these suckers. Just
kill them.
But you understand that sometimes it's a no. The choice is a no.
Exactly. But the main thing is making sure that the woman has that choice of yes or no. And that's really what the societal definition of pro-choice is giving the woman the choice. You know, where pro-life is, well, life begins at conception. Well, I mean, in my idea, I don't believe that life begins at conception. I mean, technically life ends when your brain no longer has functionality. Like there's no brain activity. That's when you're considered dead. And so why is it when you're considered dead with no brain functionality, but you're considered alive when you don't have any organs at all, or if you are just farming a heartbeat? You know,
you too deep, Kaninja. You too deep.
But I'm not.
They ain't ready for that. This is how I feel. Okay, if we want to be, because what kills me is when it's pro-life people, but then they want to talk about people being on welfare. Like I don't understand that part. That's why I don't understand. Now I'm not. Am I saying that everybody is but it's a hot majority. Okay, where they're like, no welfare. You just got making in this America, and I'm just like, oh, and that's fine, making this in America, but like. If I don't get this abortion, I mean, I hate to say it like that, but there's a reason why I said no. So because these are the reasons why I said no, you doing that is going to negatively affect everything else.
Right.
My job, my educational goals, being an entrepreneur, all that other stuff is gonna be. It's when I'm not ready, because there's a reason why it's a no. Right. So things that makes it a no is going to negatively affect all these other things that are trickling down.
Right. Exactly.
And my mental health. There are people, and I'm not trying to be a certain way today, but there are some people who should not have children.
Yes.
Like when you hear all these horrible stories of these people having children, and they were already struggling, and then they killed them off because it was like there's no food. What you mean there's no food?
Right.
When you talk to them, they were already struggling before the kid.
Exactly. Or when you're in an abusive relationship, and I think there was this one story where the husband just kept making the wife have more and more and more kids, and she had such a horrible postpartum depression that she ended up killing all of her children, like one by one. And it's just like there is a reason why people say no. Like that's perfect. Like then give them that choice. But what's happening is that Texas is saying we're giving you the choice up to 6 weeks. And so
that's not enough time to figure out what you're trying to do.
No, most people don't even know they're pregnant until like they're 6 weeks.
Some people can't tell because unfortunately, and I feel like this is a conspiracy, but just about every woman experiences irregular cycles once, at least several times in their life. Like it's not unheard of to hear people irregular. There are irregular people. That's majority of it. That's my conspiracy theory. That's on Rissy Ray Rant.
We'll have that segment.
But you know what I mean? Like it's and then I feel like there's so much of a negative connotation to abortion
Mm-hmm.
that makes people who know they should do a no
Mm-hmm.
do a yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what other people will think, what their family will think, what other outside influences will judge them. Mind you, side note, people are going to judge you
Either
for
way.
everything.
Yes, either way.
They're judging me on my glasses and they're judging connections on our mask. You know what I mean? People are going to judge you for everything. Anyway, but sometimes some people, it's just, that's important to them. What other people view is important. And I feel like that connotation, because I feel like for Texas to even pass that thing, it has to go through their own Senate and their own House of Representatives, correct?
Yeah, and they have to go through their own kind of like mini legislation.
Yeah, so they're going through their channels.
Yeah.
In order for that to happen, I feel like there's still certain connotations. Like, I feel like some people say things like, because if they do that, the women will just keep getting them.
Right.
I mean, maybe, you know, like, but what about you're doing the extreme,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, versus the regular day. A lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people want to be in a healthy relationship, a healthy, committed relationship. Everybody wants that. Right. Don't you want that, Kaninja?
Yes. People want that.
We want that. Like, we want that. So why would we put ourselves in a situation where we're just...
Right. Exactly.
No.
And I was just thinking...
negative connotation. I feel like...
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Because it does have that negative connotation, because they're just like, it's murder. You're murdering these babies, you know? And it's just like, how dare you murder these babies? And then, of course, you have these people lined up outside of these clinics already, like even before this law passed. You have people lining up at these clinics basically saying you're gonna go to hell, you know. And apparently I heard like
it's not funny, it's funny when you see them. Like, I was driving by, like, when it was fresh out, when clinics were fresh out.
Yeah,
we're just driving. We just hear, we're like, what's going on? Is this a carnival? Is this what's going on here? Who's here? And you just see, like, huh? Like you're like, what? Like, don't you have a job? Like,
exactly. And then I'm talking to some people that are like, that actually in a part of those crowds, and they're just like, not everyone says that they're going to hell. Like, some people are saying, we can help you, we can take your baby, you know.
We can't hear you.
No,
that's not what I hear. That's not what I hear. I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kaninja. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I get it. That is an alternative. If you don't believe, if you personally, like, even with all the information left and right, you decide, like, hey, you know, abortion is really not the choice for me. We get it, because we're all adults, and you want to do it. But I don't hear them. I don't hear them.
No.
I hear hell.
Yes. Exactly. And that's what I had to explain to those people. And I'm like, when a person's going down that lane, that aisle, like,
you know exactly, because they can't go but so far. That's what I learned. Like, there's a certain area they can go up to a certain point.
Right.
And if they go past that point, that's when they go to jail.
Okay. So like, they're literally at that point, you know, they're going down this aisle, and the woman is already going through so much thought process, you know, so much turmoil of, like, 9 times out of 10, the woman is going through there and, like, really thinking through the situation. Because not many women just say, all right, I'm going to have an abortion, and not feel some sort of way about it.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
And so, like, this person is going down this aisle, and these people are yelling at her. All they're gonna hear is, like you said, hell, you know.
They're probably gonna hear, hey, so we can help you. We can help you. Ma'am, we can help you with this kid. We can. Give them to us. We have an agency. This is the Angel Hands Agency, and we can help you.
Hell. Exactly. So it's just like, but that's their kind of their roundabout way of banning the abortion. Now the thing is though, like if we want to talk about science, there is actually no scientific consensus of when life actually begins. There's scientific consensus when life ends, but not really when life begins. And so, but they're saying it's called a heartbeat law. So if there's a heartbeat at 6 weeks, yes, because the heart is being formed, but it's not a viable being.
The way you saying it can just kind of cold.
It's kind of bad. I said that to some of the people I was having a debate with, and they were looking at me definitely a different way.
Thing, okay? Until that comes out of the vagina or through the, the C-section or wherever it comes from, and it goes, yeah, like, oh, where? That's okay.
Where?
It's nothing. It is nothing. It has not earned the right to live. I'm sorry, no, you're not like that. But it's just breaking down scientifically. Yeah, you're like, hey, that's just what it is. It's, to me, unfortunately, again, my conspiracy about women there's a lot of women with irregular cycles is you don't know when you're pregnant. A lot of people don't know when they're pregnant, and they just don't know. They don't know that they're pregnant, and that throws a lot of people off. Where there's people who don't gain any weight, because I didn't gain weight. I didn't gain weight till I was like 4 months. After 4 months, I was the same. Oh my! I miss my body though, but I miss my body. I was flat. Like, it wasn't like no hardcore ass, but my stomach was flat, and I showed it to my supervisor. I'm like, "Hey, I'm pregnant. Lift up my shirt." You just hear boom. And so she was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't see it." That's how I was at 4 months. She's like, "You're 4 months?" I was like, "Oh my goodness." So that I say that to say you don't know. Like, you just don't know. And then you, like, let's say this, right? I don't know who I've done my dirt. You know what I mean? I've hung out with different people. Maybe a condom broke. I don't know. Maybe some pre-cum came through during, I don't know, right? So now they're telling me I'm 6 weeks pregnant. I don't know.
Right. Exactly. You're not even expecting it.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I want to deal with the fact that I don't know, and people are looking at me like, how do you not know? How do you not know? But in the baby's here, how do you not know who the baby father is? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. Versus, I can just take care of this right now. Like, I don't know. I'm not in a good space. The people who I think it is, no. No. Like,
exactly.
It's just so crazy that why, like, of all the resources and stuff like that, why care about abortion? Like, why?
It's been huge. It's because, like, it kind of goes back to the Bible Belt, I guess you can say. So, like, we're in the Bible Belt, and so it kind of goes with the religious standpoint, where they're like, no, like, pro-life, a baby is alive when it's conceived. But, like, you made a good point with welfare. Why is Texas against abortion, but they're totally for guns? And why are we against abortion? Yeah, and, like, why are we against abortion, but we're totally for war? Or, hey, how about this? Why are we going against abortion when Texas, I don't even think, has a mask mandate whatsoever when it comes to this COVID thing? Over 600,000 people have died in the past year and a half.
Right.
So, like it doesn't line up.
No, especially it's alternatives. Okay, you want to focus on banning abortion. Why don't you give more adoption credits for families who want to adopt, but they can't afford the fee?
Right.
It don't cost me nothing, Kaninja, to go and get pregnant and have a kid. Right. I mean, I have a doctor bill at the end of it, but there's no, that's a hospital bill.
Right.
I can just have one. The adoption, yes, there are scholarships. Yes, there are not scholarships, but there's grants and there's funding. But what if you want to ban that? Why can't you just go and make credits? I mean, obviously let the people go through, security, checks back, whatever, same process. Right. But why don't you give people more credits to adopt? Why don't you give more counseling? So all these people who are killing off their kids, you could go and put more counseling and implement that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's all, like, I'm just one of those people. I'm like, don't tell me no. Just give me an alternative. If you're gonna do that, because if you're gonna do that, and I know that some places, like how they were defunding Planned Parenthood and stuff like that. Okay, you defunded this. So where did that money go?
Right. To war. To the NRA.
My buddy
said,
pro-life. War. And so I'm like, why don't you put money into adoption agencies? There's one person, I heard a sad story where, you know, this adoption family, they ended up killing all the kids or something. They adopted them or something. And I'm just like, okay, well, then why don't you put more, you know, checks, background checks, but do something, do wellness, just implement wellness into something instead of saying like that. Because
exactly.
Or make it easier.
No, you're good. And no, but make it easier to adopt. You know, other than the credits, but like they had to like spend so much money just to adopt and actually make it easier for the programs. Or if there are these programs that people are yelling over the people who are saying you're going to go to hell kind of thing, you know, have that more available. Because like when I was talking to these people and they were like, yeah, there's ads everywhere about these programs. And I'm like, where? I'm not seeing them. I don't
see it. All I see is that I got this boyfriend right here and I'm over here pregnant and I don't see
no any. Exactly. And it's not like we don't want to see it, we just don't see it. It's not widely known. Like it's not like it's on Facebook, because Facebook goes off the ads that we look up. So we're not going to look up like religious programs or whatever the case. We're just like, what do I do? You know, these things are not going to come up as ads. It's not going to come up. And I'm like, and then I was told they're on billboards. I'm like, where
are the billboards at? Because I'm again, you think about when you're pregnant, at some level you can't work.
Right.
So if you over here, if you are an aspiring person who's like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Where's the assistance that they don't want to give? But where's the assistance where I don't use, I don't use the abortion as the answer to my current situation. Maybe I'll tough it out and go through a program, some type of, like, why don't they make unemployment a certain way where you're like, hey, if you're pregnant and you got a doctor's note that says, hey, you need some type of accommodation, why can't you get unemployment? Since life is a life, why can't you get unemployment so you can stay at home so you don't risk the life of your unborn child?
Exactly. Or having longer maternity and paternity leaves. I mean, you literally get like what, at the most 6 months for maternity leave if you're at a good company, you know, and that's paid if you're at a really good company here in America. But like overseas, you get 2 years paid maternity leave. And so it's just like, okay, if you have that too, like if you have those, like you're saying, these alternatives or these programs that actually are widely there that you can utilize, that you can use, you don't have to worry about the clinics anymore. You know, that'll weed itself out if you have all these other alternatives that you're focusing on, instead of just telling women that they don't have that choice anymore.
Control.
Exactly. That's why I think of it, at least.
It's the truth. It's the consensus of the Breaker Buddies. So if you say something to the Breaker Buddies, something to them.
So, Break Room Buddies, definitely let us know what your thoughts are on why you think Texas and Florida and some of the other states too that are trying to enact this abortion law. Like, why do you think that is? Like, is it because of a religious standpoint? Is it because of control? Is it because of a different reason? Like, let us know what your thoughts are on that one, because definitely it's a tough subject, but it's hard for us to think of any other reason other than control when the math just doesn't work out. 2 + 2 is not equaling 4 at this point.
No, it's like there's like huge ignorance of women's health, like in general. Like I think I read an article where it was one senator said what they said. They said they were against putting like tampon, you know, like the little dispensaries in girls' bathrooms, and they were saying like, no, if we do that, then they'll start having their periods at school, and it's like
you can't control that. You can't stop your period. when you go to school. We wish you could. There'd be a lot of horror stories that we wouldn't have if you could.
I think it's the consensus of every female, like any person who goes through the cycle of womanhood. Okay, we want to do it. We want it at home.
Yes.
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it other than home. Like, but you like you start having periods at school, and you're like, really?
We got a switch that we can choose to turn on.
I wish, because then think about all the trips, you know, parties, you know, time off from school and spend time with grandma. Like, think about all those.
I would never turn that switch on. It would just be off. Like, I don't want to have my cycle, okay?
Yeah, you're like, I mean, you can go at night. Okay, you go at night because I'm sleeping. And take some medicine, you know, go to sleep. Oh, I'm up now. Off. Like, who wants this? Okay, so it's just, and it's always like, oh, it's old people. It's old. It's like, I don't know. I get so tired because I'm just like, but why though? Why? Like, let me say this. I want to see what is the economic issue with abortions. That's what I would like to know.
Right.
What's the economic issue?
It can't be population.
It increases population, and I just want to see like what is the like for the Texas government, like what, like, you know what I mean, like what is affecting. I understand on some level as when you're you know, someone with a child, you do spend more in a sense of you're buying yourself and for someone else. Now that's just generally speaking. I'm not talking about someone who's, you know, who lives by themselves and they buy everything they want, you know what I mean? But for you and that, I can see like, okay, you spend more in that reference.
Right.
But I don't see, but then I also see single adults pay more in taxes, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
but then it also can increase homelessness more in the welfare system because you have more mouths to feed. Since the minimum wages aren't really going up, so your minimum wages, your wage does not go up because you have kids. Yeah, your tax returns do, but like on a day-to-day basis, paycheck to paycheck basis, it doesn't go up just because you have kids. So you have more of a risk of being homeless at that point. You know, so you don't have the money to actually go out and buy things or buy houses or anything along those lines. Now, one thing that I did hear is that because of climate change and also because of COVID, that the actually the reproduction rate of males swimmers are going down.
Yes. Handmaid's Tale. Okay, if you haven't watched that show on Netflix or Hulu, it's about to be real.
Plug in. So, but yeah, so I don't know if that may be related because they're like, okay, well, we don't want. I'm scared. I don't want the humans to get extinct, but we're not going to do anything about climate change. But I don't want anything to do with change. So, but on that note, Break Room Buddies, we are actually running out of time in our break. We actually are trying to do this in a break format. So we are going to end with our final thoughts. Rissy.
Oh my goodness. Great topic, Kaninja. You're also amazing as always. You know, this is our break time before we go back to like doing some stuff. We're about to do some. What you gonna do? I'm gonna do some schoolwork. Got my dog. I'm gonna feed my dogs. I'm gonna feed myself, and that's all. That's all I got because I gotta get on rolling. Right? Is that how we're doing it? We're gonna get on rolling. I'm gonna shoot Kaninja. Before we gotta clock into work. Before we clock into work. Come on.
We gotta go back to work. Okay. So, Rissy, you are awesome, amazing as always. Thank you for making this topic super and awesome. And yeah, and I just don't want to make another point about abortion and everything along those lines. If we just think about this, Break Room Buddies, a male can get a woman pregnant. So a male can get a woman pregnant every day. So they can actually technically get over 300 women pregnant in 1 year, where a woman can only get pregnant once in a year. Just think about that when it comes to abortion rates and who really should be on birth control or having some sort of control on their bodies. But that is a unpopular opinion. But with that, I do need to run and take care of my dog, and I'm gonna get ready for bed.
I heard too much fun. I heard too much fun. I love this part. Keep going. Our boss is calling us.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and check us out. Send us our feedback on our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Anyway, bye, Breaker buddies. See you next time.